Try it yourself, adding a slider-based image gallery. The purpose of this try-it-yourself exercise is to give you some ideas about how to implement an image gallery with slider controls. The solution files are located in the book's Code Listings archive. In the Hour 14 folder, that's where you'll find the HTML, JS, and CSS files. We'll also need several images that will become apparent in just a moment when you see the project in action. Speaking of the project in action, why don't we begin by selecting the HTML file, Hour 1401, and then running the project in Firefox. What we have here is a really nifty slider control with a left arrow and a right arrow hovering over those automatically, or as an old colleague of mine used to say, automagically, scrolls through the images in a predefined list. When you select an image, notice that it both magnifies in the film strip view, and then when you click it, you see a full-sized representation below. The HTML code lays out a set of div elements that will contain the image slider, control buttons, and the displayed image. The CSS code styles the images and the div elements. Specifically, notice lines 6 through 10. These lines define the slide selector area with a specific width with hidden overflow, a child div area that contains all the image elements, and the look of the images themselves. Incidentally, you'll see that the left and right arrows are indicated here using image tags on lines 12 and 16 in the source HTML file. The rest of the files, that is to say the image files that comprise the application, are referenced in the JavaScript file which we'll look at right now. In our Ready function, we have all the handlers that handle the interactions. Specifically, we have a mouse enter and mouse leave event handler that are mapped to the left and right elements respectively to provide a hover effect. Starting with line 39, we have lines that add a hover animation effect for the thumbnails in the image slide element. The hover effect animates, increasing the opacity and size for images that are hovered over to give the user an indication that the item is clickable and which one is selected. A click handler is also added so that when the user clicks a thumbnail, it sets the main image. In line 44, this calls the click handler on the first thumbnail image to initially select a main image. Back to line 23, the set photo function. This is a click handler that animates changing the main image. Notice that the code fades the image out and then back in. Also, because the aspect ratios of the images are not all uniform, the aspect ratio of the thumbnail is used to determine whether to set the height or width property for an image to fit properly. Finally, on line 12, let me scroll up a little bit here. We have the slide code that handles the sliding of the thumbnail images. Basically, this code determines where the new left position of the image slide element should be. When the slide is all the way to the left position is 0. When it is all the way to the left position is set to a negative value clear off the web page so that only the right edge of the slide is visible.